Hi everyone. Alright, what I'm going to do today is to just go through a little bit more in detail at a slower pace in this video of what something that we briefly went through today when we were looking through our synthesis exercise, when we were working through that. Alright, today we are going to look at a grammar lesson on using prefer to when we combine two sentences together. Alright, let's switch over to my slides for today. Alright, some of you, not many of you, some of you in your exercises, you have used prefer and then for your when you combine two sentences together. That is actually incorrect. Alright, we do not say I prefer coffee than tea. Rather, the correct way would be to say I prefer coffee to tea. Or in some cases where this is where you use the word then. It's only when you use rather in the front. Okay, so for example, you say, I rather drink coffee than tea. Okay, so this will be how you use rather than. So remember, we do not use prefer than. However, in some cases, we may actually use prefer and rather than in the same sentences, but in the same sentence. However, we are not going to look at that today. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to go through step by step, very simple exercises. I'm going to give you one example, and then following which you try out a similar example. So if you are right here watching this video, pause it for a while, get out your writing paper, or if you are in my two classes, what you can do is to take out your English notebook, and then you can do the practice. Pause the video when it comes to the section for you to try. Alright, so are you ready? Alright, let's do this. Okay, for the first example, I like coffee, I dislike tea. So it's very straightforward. I like coffee. Coffee is my noun. Tea is the noun as well. So when I combine these two sentences using prefer and to, I'll say I prefer coffee to tea. It would be incorrect for you to say I prefer coffee than tea. Okay, so now I'm going to give you another example. You're going to try this on your own. Alright? Now you try. I like soccer. I dislike basketball. How will you combine these two sentences using prefer and to? Now you can pause your video for a while, and in a few seconds time, what I'm going to do is that when you're ready, you can just click play and I'll review the answer to you. Ready? 3, 2, 1. I prefer soccer to basketball. Did you get this correct? If you did, well done. If you're not too sure, do rewind the video a little bit to see whether you can understand how I arrived at my answer. And then you can try this again. If you have gotten this correct, let's move on to the second example. Example 3, or rather it should be example 2, sorry. I like running. I dislike flying. So to combine these two, running, although it sounds like a verb, it sounds like an action, but if you remember in your lesson, run and running is good for you. Running, it functions as a noun because it's a gerund. Okay, so I like running, I dislike flying. When we combine these two, it becomes I prefer running to flying. Okay, it'll be incorrect to say I prefer running than flying. So far, it is clear on this. Now let's try the next example on your own. Are you ready? Now you try. Sue likes cooking. Sue dislikes sewing. Now pause the video and try this out on your own. When you're done, click play again and I'll review the answer to you. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Sue prefers cooking to sewing. Did you get this correct? If you did, you're doing great. Okay, let's continue. Yes, just now as I mentioned, okay, when we have the verbs, sometimes we may need to change them to the gerund form. Okay, so for example, you have jog, it'll be changed to jogging. For example, when we use it in a sentence, jogging is beneficial. Jogging is the name of an activity. Okay, so that's why it's a noun. Fly. Fly is a verb. But when we add the ing form, it becomes a gerund, which is a noun. Okay, that's why I placed this n on the top. Okay, flying. I love flying. Okay, I love this activity and it's called flying. Okay, not exactly that Mr. Liao is going to start flying, but I love flying, as in I love flying on an aeroplane. Okay, so this is what it means when we change a verb to a noun form, a gerund. Okay, are you ready for the next example? Okay, so the next example will involve this a little bit. I like to fly a kite. Example 3. Okay, a verb change to gerund. I don't like to jog in a park. So, fly a kite. Fly. What form would this be? This would be a noun or a verb or an adjective? This is a verb, yes. So when I change a fly to flying, flying a kite, this is a noun phrase. So this is a name of an activity. So this is called flying a kite. Okay, I love flying a kite. Okay, flying a kite is fun. So this is itself, flying a kite is the name of an activity. Jog in a park. Change jog to jogging. Yes, jogging in a park. Jogging in a park is the name of an activity. So this itself is a noun phrase. So when I combine these two, I prefer flying a kite to jogging in a park. Okay, do you see this? I prefer flying a kite to jogging in a park. So this is very clear for us. Now we'll try another example. Your turn. I like to drink coffee. I don't like to drink tea. So think about it. Drink. You change the drink to now. Drinking coffee is the name of an activity. Drinking tea is also a name of an activity. Okay? So if I say I like drinking coffee versus I like coffee, is there a difference between these two sentences? I repeat again. I like drinking coffee versus I like coffee. Sentence wise, are they different? Yes. I can say that I like the smell of coffee. I like eating coffee beans, or not exactly, okay? But when we mention drinking coffee, it is a very specific action. It is not just liking the coffee itself. I like drinking the coffee. So drinking coffee is the name of the activity. Drinking tea is the name of the activity. Although they are repeated words, we do not omit them. Alright? So let's look at this. Ready for the answer? If not, you pause the video, think about it. Ready? 1, 2, go. I prefer drinking coffee to drinking tea. Alright? So, some of you may say, Mr. Liao, didn't you teach us to just delete off all the repeated words? Not exactly. Drinking coffee is a very specific activity. Drinking tea is a very specific activity as well. It would change the meaning if I would say munching tea, maybe I don't know, stirring tea, okay, or maybe I would say refueling coffee. So refueling coffee, that means that it's an activity where we refill coffee. So drinking coffee, it is a very specific activity. So right now, if I omit the word drinking, it will actually change the meaning slightly. So therefore, I will just keep drinking coffee and drinking tea. The drinking, it is important as part of the name of this noun phrase. I prefer drinking coffee to drinking tea. I prefer playing basketball to playing soccer. Alright, so it is important that we keep the gerund, the name of the noun phrase intact. Alright, so don't worry, okay? At this point of time, if when you come across this, always ask yourself, does me actually omitting this part, this word actually changed the meaning of this activity. If it changes the name of the activity, it can mean something else, then you keep it there. Alright? Okay, next, let's try another one. I like taking the bus. I don't like taking the train. So, I would combine this by saying I prefer taking the bus to taking the train. It would be incorrect to say I prefer taking the bus to the train. Now, does this make it a little bit more clear for you? It sounds very weird if I say I prefer taking the bus to the train. Taking the train is the name of the entire activity. I can like the train, but I can choose not to take the train. So when I say I like taking the train, it is very specific that I don't like taking the train. Sorry, I mentioned like just now, right? Anyway, taking the train is the name of the activity. So the correct way to combine these two, I repeat, I prefer taking the bus to taking the train. So far, is this a little bit clearer for you? I hope so. Okay, let's try one last example. Kathy and her sister likes to travel by train. They dislike to travel by plane. Alright, this is the example that we came across in our activity in the test paper 4 booklet just now. Alright, this is question 29. So think, the clue, travel. Change it into the ing form. How would it be? Alright, you can pause the video, write this down and see whether you have gotten the correct answer. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry. Kathy and her sister prefer traveling by train to traveling by plane. Alright, I hope you have gotten this correct. Alright, hopefully by now you should be a little bit clearer to how you can combine sentences using prefer to. The most important part of this lesson is to remember that we do not use prefer and then. Don't confuse that with rather than. Alright, just switch this over. Alright, as I mentioned, so don't confuse prefer to with rather than. Okay, so when you come across in a sentence that you have the verb form, try to see whether can you change it into the gerund form. So, for example, travel, you change it to traveling by train. That's the noun phrase, the name of the activity. Okay, so this is how you can help yourself so that you always think whether by omitting words, especially when we are combining sentences, when we remove words, do they change the meaning of it? We remove words when we combine sentences is because it is repeated and it doesn't change the meaning. Alright, so for these instances where we have prefer to and they are names of two different activities, we keep the repeated words. Alright, and you won't be faulted for that. Alright, so for subsequent lesson, hopefully I'll be able to go through a little bit more with you about prefer to and rather than. Okay, if you're not too sure about this lesson, maybe you can rewind it and just go through it again and see how maybe if you have any questions, okay, you're not too sure, you can just drop me an email to mrliao@gmail.com. Alright, okay, that's all for today. I hope you have a good weekend. Make sure that you rest well for your CA1 and even as you revise, make sure that you take time to relax, read a good book, go downstairs to play, of course ask permission from your parents. Plan your time well. Work as hard as you can and then you play and you relax as much as you can as well. Okay, so take care of yourself, especially in this bad weather. Drink lots of water, stay healthy, and I'll see you on Monday. Bye.